Singapore is a very small country with 4 million population, even smaller than Israel. And we have about 500,000 students in our school sector and about 100,000 students in the tertiary institutions. There's our 3 publicly funded universities, 5 polytechnics that provides training at diploma level, and 1 ITE, Institute of Technical Education, that provides training at the certificate level. So for MOE in Singapore, our mission is to mold the future of the nation. And we have adopted Thinking Schools, Learning Nation as our vision statement. And this is the agenda for my presentation this morning. Why innovate? I think this needs no elaboration. The need for innovation is really driven by the rapidly changing world, which requires mindsets, attitudes to adapt very quickly. And to be prepared for the future, our students, our children, need to think independently and creatively. And for this to happen, the ministry, the school leaders, the teachers must be prepared to do things differently to respond to these challenges. So over the years, in response to national, social, economic development of the country, the most significant changes in our education system has been this shift from a survival-driven, efficiency-driven system to one that is very much focused on quality. We gained our independence in 1965. So in the early days, we started with nothing. So we built schools, we recruit teachers, we send our kids to schools, give them literacy, numeracy, get them to sing national anthem, to say national pledge. And by the 70s, we achieved full employment. But our dropout rates is very high. So we introduced streaming to group the students according to ability bands, and that reduced our dropout rates drastically. And we have centralized curriculum, we have national examinations, and that is quite successful in achieving high averages. So we've done very well, coming top in our international studies in maths and science. So the key difference now is that we're trying to build on this foundation and provide more flexibility and choice. So within the streaming, we want to build more bridges, ladders, introduce more porosity in the system so that we can allow for each child to maximize its potential. And we want to allow for a greater threshold for experimentation and innovation. So what is Innovation Enterprise, INE? I think it's more than just about having an entrepreneurial spirit. More broadly, we want our students to have this inquiring and questioning mind, to have this strength of character, the robustness, the courage to take initiative, to try out new ideas, and, very importantly, to have this sense of wanting to give back to the community. So in year 2003, we developed a blue sky framework to help us steer and guide us on our INE journey for the schools. As you can see, we have 5 points of the star that really represents the key principles that we subscribe to. So these are the key tenets. First is every child, not a few. We want every child to have the potential to succeed in different areas. Celebrate, not mandate. The spirit of INE should be celebrated so that our schools, our tertiary institutions is motivated to innovate. And this innovation should be bottoms up and not top down. Flexibility with discipline. For openness, flexibilities is very crucial for innovation, but it must be coupled with discipline and determination so that students will persevere despite setback. Signposts, not scorecards, means that we'll not track each individual institution's progress, but will reflect the general state of progress for the education system as a whole. And of course, INE is a journey, not destination. And the 3 vertices of the triangle call describe the key enablers. First is people to steer. The top management, school leaders are very crucial in creating the kind of culture to encourage innovation. Provisions to seed must tap on resources of the ministry, the community, of external organizations to enhance this capacity to innovate. And platforms to showcase. We encourage our schools, our tertiary institutions to participate in events that allow for sharing of ideas and knowledge. So how do we achieve I&E? Here, I just want to share with you some of our approaches to facilitate I&E for our schools, for our teachers, for our students. I'll focus on a few areas. First is that we want to make our system more fluid by creating new educational pathways. So a few examples. We introduce integrated programs. We allow the university-bound students to skip the national examination. In Singapore, there's a very strong focus on national examination. So we allow the bright students to skip the national examination at age 16 so they can learn in a less structured environment. We introduce direct admission scheme so that the schools can admit students beyond just looking at the national examination results. And to cater to very specialized talents, about 2 years ago, we set up National University School, High School of Maths and Science, sports schools. In 2008, we will set up an art school. And next year, we have this Northlight School. It's introduced enhanced vocational program to cater for early school leavers and the school dropouts, even though the number is very small. And to inject greater diversity, we also allowed for the setting up of privately funded schools, introduction of alternative curricula. At the university level, we've allowed the entry of new private university, foreign specialized institutions. So we wanted to provide these opportunities for the institutions to compete with each other. In year 2000, we set up a new third university, Singapore Management University, and it has really stimulated innovation in business education at the university level. So starting from next year, our NUS will collaborate with Duke University to set up a second medical school. And the next year, SMU also will set up a second law school. So we want to breed a very dynamic, innovative university sector so that they can attract the best researchers, academics, and students. And our universities admit up to 20% of foreign students so that our students will have to compete with the best. We also want to develop more distinctive niches in our schools and our universities. So our institutions also need greater support to create the kind of time and space to support innovation. So we give our schools more autonomy and the use of resources, come up with new programs and curriculum to suit the needs of our students. But with autonomy comes accountability. And our school leaders, our teachers play a very important role, and they need to have the capacity to innovate. So we put a lot of emphasis on strengthening the professional development. Our teachers pursue postgraduate studies, embark on action research programs. And 2 years ago, we also introduced this teacher attachment program. Means, we encourage them to be attached to external organizations, whether locally or overseas, in diverse areas, IT, finance, business, so that they broaden their perspectives and learning experiences and keep in touch with the latest thinking and practices in industry, in the marketplace. So when we return to school, they can share with their fellow colleagues and benefit the students. We also have about 30% of our teachers who are mid-career entrants. They have more than 3 years of working experience in industry before they join the teaching workforce. This is really to broaden the perspective. And we have a university autonomy, governance, and funding review, which is quite a milestone event. With effect from April this year, we have corporatized our universities as not-for-profit public companies that's limited by guarantee. So our board of trustees, our management are given full financial autonomy. The sinking fund for development budget recurrent budget are given as a block to the BOT, the Board of Trustees, and they're tasked to really differentiate themselves, come up with new strategies, seek funding, and the ministry give one-for-one matching and donation so that they can create different peaks of excellence. So move on to the curriculum and pedagogy and assessment. We have introduced this teach less, learn more as a call to our educators to really focus on engaging the students, preparing them for life, rather than just focus on very narrowly on examination, drilling, pen and paper tests. So to facilitate this, we've reduced our syllabus so they can create more flexibility and time for the teachers to think about new ways of making learning more engaging, and for our students to have more time to go more in-depth exploration of what they have learned. So encourage them to have problem-based, multidisciplinary learning. We try to promote different types of pedagogy and assessment in terms of industry collaboration, and very importantly, overseas opportunities. Because Singapore is very, very small. Our trade is 3 times our GDP. So our universities have set a target of having at least 50% of students have some form of overseas exposure by the year 2008. And even our polytechnics is about 30%. And at the school level, we have the twin program with India, China, and our neighboring countries in the Southeast Asia. So it's really to inculcate in these students this global mindset and make sure that they are comfortable with the different cultures and to learn from the different cultures. We have also given schools more autonomy in coming up with new subjects. Examples are drama, physical education, and starting from next year, we're also encouraging our polytechnics to work with our schools to come up with applied elective modules or applied subjects. I think the idea here is not really to give our students early exposure or specialization as such, but it's intended to develop an innovative mind through applied learning so that they can find problems, look for problems, find solutions, and make things happen. So in terms of concept, it's a bit like MIT, the motto of mind and hand, where they have a cooperation between knowledge and practical sciences, so that our students will not just understand issue conceptually, but also able to apply this concept to find practical solutions and application. Of course, incentives and awards. We also put a lot of emphasis on ICT in education. We've gone through 2 master plans, and right now we're also incorporating IDM, interactive digital media, in our education. So in terms of concept, now we have a pyramid. So at the broad level, we would like all our schools to achieve a baseline in the use of integration of ICT in education. But at the top 15%, we would like to encourage them to a very innovative use of ICT. So we give them additional support, resources in the LEAD ICT program. And right at the apex, we're going to have a school of the future. We hope to have about 15 schools by 2015, starting with a few in 2008. So for MOE, we provide support through funding. For example, we have the Innovation Fund for projects that have systemic impact, School Innovation Fund for school-based innovation, LEAD IT for ICT in education, and a whole host of other funding support. In addition to support, awards and recognition, so very important, we also try to increase the innovation capacity of institutions by providing training to acquire innovation skills. And we also create platforms for sharing. For example, last year, we have this MOE Excel Fest, where nearly all the schools participated in exhibiting their innovative projects and ideas. And nearly half of the schools actually open up and invite parents to sit in for their classroom observations. So at this point, I will just share with you some examples of innovation in schools, so just give you some flavor of what's happening on the ground. put a lot of emphasis on ICT. So take, for example, the tablet PCs, they're used as personalized learning devices. There's inquiry-based learning with personalized devices like pocket PCs, data loggers. There's 3D animation, video production, there's e-portfolios, blogging, podcasting, and formative assessment through classroom performance system. This one example in our primary school is one of the projects that's funded by our Innovation Fund. And basically it's mixed reality learning module on the plant system. So the screenshots shows the blended environment in which the students manipulate the variables in the 3D virtual objects like soil, water, light, heat, to explore, and through this mixed reality technology interface, to explore the effects on the seed germination. So I think this is more captivating, and it's very appealing to the visual learners in our primary schools. And so it really facilitates a deeper retention of the scientific knowledge relating to plants through this very unique 3D environment. Okay, another example, this primary school, they introduced the more structured life science programs. So it is for the 9-year-old to 12 years old. They have hydroponics, rainbow corn, and they come out with orchard hybridization. So the students are very excited. They are very proud when their orchid hybrids are successful. So in the process, they learn determination, commitment, hard work, patience, creativity, and teamwork. There's another experiment. It's a program for a 13-year-old where they learn art, home economics, and design technology through problem solving. They have to set up a cultural fusion restaurant. So the curriculum is designed in such a way that they learn about the different cultures. Then they must use their knowledge to design art pieces and healthy recipes in the restaurant. And they must also come up with logistic planning, marketing, budgeting. So in the process, they acquire research skills, organization skills, analytical skills, as well as presentation skills. So very quickly, I'll move on to the tertiary sector. Really, R&D, as in the case of Israel, plays a very, very important role in shaping our economic future. So this year, we have set up a National Research, Innovation and Enterprise Council that's chaired by the Prime Minister, with several cabinet ministers involved, and is supported by the National Research Foundation, that's chaired by one of the former Deputy Prime Minister. And in this framework, we have the mission-oriented research under the Ministry of Industry. We also have academic research. So we also boosted our academic research for our universities. And the aim is really to create knowledge, which forms a foundation for future discoveries and innovation, enhance universities' reputations so they can enhance Singapore's attractiveness as a talent hub, improve the overall quality of education for our students by engaging our university staff in the latest thinking and discovery in their field, and also to provide quality postgraduate manpower training for the academia as well as industry. So to manage the research fund and to provide a coherent overview, we also have reviewed our academic research framework recently. Polytechnics, I mentioned earlier, is more involved in downstream applied research. So we also set up centers for innovation to strengthen this nexus between the R&D and business, so they can provide applied research consultancy and advisory services. And we also get the support of SPRING, which is a national agency that has helped to promote the SME, the small and medium enterprises in Singapore. And even ITE, we have this Center of Technologies to help foster innovation and creativity. So they collaborate with key industry partners like Microsoft, like Sun Microsystems, to find practical and innovative solutions to meet the industry requirement. And also COT on automation, on robotics, to carry out proof of concept project development and testing for the latest products. So to sum it all up, exactly on the dot, the lessons that we've instilled is that to make the innovation happen, we really need to have the ownership on the ground. This ownership by the key stakeholders, school leaders, tertiary institutions. And we see the role of MOE as a supporting one. This to put in place the policy framework to give them autonomy, to strengthen their professional development, and give them resources. And to us, I&E is a journey, it's a continuous process. Thank you.